And Paul, I would be remiss if I didn't. There were so many of your silver bugs that are America's Gold and Silver audience who asked over email, over social, your perspective on where you think silver price is going. So I'd be remiss if I didn't, during this gap, to let you prognosticate and crystal ball gaze just a little bit before Oliver joins us.
Look, one thing is certain. When you hear the name Paul Hewitt, everyone doesn't go, "Oh, there's a macroeconomics kind of guy. He knows everything inside out." But one thing I do know is I've been in the mining industry for 37, 38 years, starting my career off in 1987 in Timmins, Ontario. So I've been around in a couple cycles. You know, you see gold or silver hitting $80 an ounce in 1980. We peaked that here in the last month. Where can silver go? There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. Listen to people like Don Durrett, Eric Sprott. Silver is going to $100 an ounce. There's no doubt it has not reached its limit. Silver has tremendous opportunity. There's so many uses for it. The technology in batteries, the stuff that we're needing it for today, there's so many uses for it. And it's not that expensive even. And you look at alternatives for AI or solar, there's not a lot of things yet that can replace that silver component in those things. And we're short year after year after year. It's not like gold or other sectors. We've already been short about 200 million ounces year after year after year. 5 years compounded, we need about 1 billion ounces. We're producing about 800 million together on a planet. So year after year, even with the sales of reused product, we are not meeting the demands. We're not even close. We're 20% short year after year, and that gets compounded. That's not going away. It's not an issue that's going away. So when I think about silver, I think for the first time in my life, I'm a silver operator. I came at a very good time, and I'm quite excited to watch it get through that 70 or even $80 an ounce, and we'll enjoy it because we're already in operation. Again, I'm going to repeat it because it's so worth mentioning. The advantage we have is that when those prices hit and they peak, we're there, we're producing it, we will take advantage of those prices. So quite excited about it.
Awesome, appreciate it. Oliver, thanks so much for joining. I know everybody's got a busy day, so I appreciate the switch in. I'd love if you could actually just get us started, introduce your co-flagship projects to the audience in the room.
Yeah, good. Well, great to chat, Romeo and Paul. Pleasure to be on the chat with you today.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, we've had a few panels together, Romeo, but Guardian is a U.S. focused tungsten exploration and development company. We've been at this for a while now, over 4 years now, and we have 2 co-flagship assets, both in the very mining-friendly state of Nevada. Pilot Mountain, which recently received an award from the Department of War in the United States of America, making us the only U.S.-focused tungsten company to receive funding from the Department of War. And then we also have the Tempa Ute Tungsten Project, which was formerly the largest tungsten mine in the U.S. And was it was the cornerstone, really, of U.S. tungsten production back in the 80s. So 2 fantastic assets, and pushing those both forward with a goal to have both in production before the current administration leaves office.
Awesome. And yeah, like I've asked previously in this event, but I really wanted to make sure I got it to you. Obviously, defense metals are needed right now. We're not forecasting something in the future. So I'd love if you could give people a sense of really precisely what the timeline is for Guardian Metal to get stuff online during the current administration.
Yeah, look, I guess I jumped ahead with my intro there, but yeah. So the current timeline right now that we're projecting is to have both in production by the end of 2028, which is before the current administration leaves office. So I think that's key. Like I said, we've been at this for a while. We're seeing lots of new companies popping up here, taking advantage of the kind of the momentum in the tungsten space, and that's great. We need that. But we acquired assets and built a company around what we thought could deliver in a relatively short time frame. As Paul just mentioned, they're producing silver now. So they take advantage of those increases in silver prices. And in terms of our production and potential timelines for production, we feel quite confident that we're one of the near-term producers, and certainly in the United States of America. So looking forward to taking advantage of this kind of increase in momentum and pricing within the tungsten space.
Oh, awesome. Now, talking about jurisdictions, I know Idaho's got those tier 1 power costs, a mining-friendly environment. Nevada has, like you said, Oliver, significant infrastructure in the history of mining. Permitting timelines can still, depending, be lengthy. So I'm curious both of your perspectives on how operating on patented versus unpatented claims in established mining jurisdictions. How does this accelerate your paths? Paul, obviously already in production. I'd love to get your perspective on it as well, just compared to greenfield projects elsewhere. Paul, I can start with you.
Yeah, look, I've been involved in permitting stuff in the U.S. for the last 26 years since I came here in 2000. Again, one of the advantages is America's Gold and Silver is fully permitted, and a lot of people say, you know, you don't need any more permits, and I'm like, well, we do need permits. Actually, we just have them already, so that's a tremendous advantage. Because I've been in meetings and people go, well, the great news is you don't need any permits. I'm like, well, actually, we do need them. We need a lot of them. We have them in place. Permitting on patented ground is much easier, as we all know. Private patented ground, it's one less agency you got to deal with. You don't have to deal with the USFS or the BLM, who are both actually quite friendly at the moment, but it allows you to get that permitting line quicker. You can get there faster. But again, I guess from our perspective, when I think about what's next, well, should we decide to put a refiner in Idaho together with others, we already hold the permits in place for us to do that, so that we can produce a final product. We're producing a concentrate today that gets shipped every week. Our concentrate gets shipped out, which we produce our silver, our copper, our lead, our antimony, and our gold from. Every week that goes out. But there is an opportunity to say, well, let's permit, let's build. Actually, we have the permits already. Our existing permits allow us to build a refiner to leach out that antimony, which we've demonstrated over the last 90 days, we can get 99.8% recoveries on and produce a final product for the military. So when I think about the permitting in the US, it's a straight timeline. It's very well, there's a process in place, but if you have the advantage of being private or patented, that's another tremendous advantage. But I'll always say that in our case, it's very unique. We get to take advantage of the metal prices because our permits that exist allow us to do what we need to do for our shareholders immediately.
Awesome. Oliver, I'll throw it to you for your perspective on permitting in Nevada, but elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that we kind of really focused our efforts on Nevada. Actually, funny enough, I've done a lot of work in Idaho as well. So I would say Idaho and Nevada are probably the two best places, in my view, to do this in the U.S. And Nevada is fantastic. I mean, as soon as you leave Reno or Las Vegas, I mean, it's mining. That's what they do there. They understand it. So, you know, even the stakeholder kind of work we've done so far has proven very positive. And, you know, we get people coming to us after saying, hey, we support you. We want you to do this. We need these mines. So it's great to get that local support. As Paul mentioned, patented mining claims are the best of the best in the U.S. We're really fortunate that Tempa Ute is on patented mining claims. And that's one of the reasons we did target that project is as we know, we can streamline and move things through the permitting process quite quickly there, just given the lack of extra agencies that you need to speak to. So that's one of the reasons why we're very bullish on Tempa Ute and also on the timeline to deliver mine product from Tempa Ute. We also have some stockpiles and tailings as well on site at Tempa Ute that we're moving forward as well and looking at ways of processing that material sooner than when we bring the project online. And then pilot mountains on BLM ground. The great thing is, you know, the current administration, we're seeing a lot of support. We're seeing a lot of alignment across the various agencies, especially on the critical metal side. You know, projects that can help deliver reshore important supply chains back on the U.S. soil. We're seeing fantastic alignment, which is really encouraging. So BLM, we're kind of in the middle of the permitting process now, and we're seeing, like I said, a lot of alignment, which is super supportive. And then Tempa Ute, we are working through that process now. And given it is patented mining claims, we feel quite confident about the ability to get that up and running and permitted in a very timely fashion.
Awesome. Now, I know we've talked around different types of financing today, and Oliver, obviously, Guardian already has that significant investment from the Department of War. But I want to put the question to you quite directly. How are each of your companies approaching the funding equation? So between balancing dilutive equity, strategic partnerships, potential JVs, non-dilutive government financing, what is currently the plan for both companies? And Oliver, I can start with you right now.
Yeah, I mean, our mandate from day one, you know, we IPO'd almost 3 years ago now. Our mandate has been to put really good shareholders on the registry focusing on, I think, investors who understand the long-term vision here. Mining isn't something, it's not a one-year game, right? You need investors who understand that over a few years or over, a 5-year span, if you have a vision and you have the tailwinds, you can deliver a lot of value over that period of time. So we've been able to really have a fantastic buy-in from some strategic shareholders, and we've just built on top of that. So most recently, Duquesne Family LLP, which is the family office of Stanley Druckenmiller, which is a very probably well-known investor across the U.S., became one of our second largest shareholders. So getting groups like that, people who understand the landscape, who understand really what can happen when all of the stars align in terms of the timing with the commodity, the timing of government, and also having the right assets. So how do we take this forward? We just continue to build on that, making sure that people that we're putting on the registry are aligned with our vision of delivering 2 mines before the current administration leaves office. And as long as we do that, I think we can continue to have a lot of success with the share price.
Awesome, appreciate that. Paul, I'll throw the same question to you.
Yeah, look, for us, our balance sheet is quite shored up. It's never been as healthy as it is today in a very long time. So we're quite proud of the different types of financing we've done. We are fully financed to bring our projects up to that levels that we want. Our next goal post here is get to 5 million ounces per year, sustain it, and then go beyond. In order to do that, the upgrades in the mine, the shaft, the equipment, we have the dollars in place. We raised non-dilutive debt for that. We've only drawn down 50 million of that debt, and we'll draw down the other part as we build the batch plant and other things. But kind of like Oliver, we're very focused at who's in our register as well. When we first got here, there was about 8% of our shareholder base that was institutionally held. Today, we're over 60%. That's a big shift in shareholder base, and you have to have people that understand mining, that have conviction in the team and the metal price. And ourselves, we're fully aligned with our shareholders. Again, I'm repeating myself here, but I've been mining 37 years. I got a wife and 7 kids. The largest position I've ever had in my entire career is in this. So as this does well, we will continue to do well. It's in my opinion, it's the lowest risk I've ever put any of my net worth into, and it's significant amount of our net worth. So not just me, but other members of the team are very aligned with our shareholders, which helps a lot. And given that we have a very strong balance sheet and we're in the moment where we're actually producing, we have a tremendous advantage. So, and I'll continue to say this, Romeo, the fact that we are producing silver at these prices, but the antimony comes in and we're going to start getting paid for it in the new year. That's a big change. That's a big difference than in the past. We weren't getting paid for it. That's coming as of January 1st. So balance sheet shored up, different types of financing. Given the fact that we've just engaged with Lot 16, I said this earlier on in the show, we were very, very focused at making the mine work first. So all of our efforts were very laser focused at restoring the mine, getting the mine into a good position, making sure Mexico is on track to deliver what it was supposed to. Now we're stepping outside, leaving the team, giving them the autonomy, and we're starting to look at what does other things look like in a collaboration with the U.S. government. And hence why I'm going there next week to meet with officials. And we're talking all different people here, DOW, DOD, DOI. So we're quite excited to start meeting them. And we've got the right team alongside us here with Lot 16, who are experts at doing this, to help us guide us along that journey. So
it's a great time to be a producer, a near-term producer.
It absolutely is. Yeah, take advantage of the price now. I got Eric Spratt breathing down our neck all the time, and it's like the fact that we're producing it now. And look, I think there's tremendous upside yet. We're far from done here. We're in a very interesting cycle here.
There's worse people to have breathing down your neck. But Oliver, I'll throw it to you. I know, as you said, you're advancing tungsten at both Pilot North and Tempayut, and the Defense Production Act really specifically highlights tungsten's strategic importance. I'm curious, we've already talked about your timeline, but how does it and the approach you're taking position you uniquely in the defense supply chain for the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, what makes tungsten really unique is the fact that the downstream capacity actually exists in the U.S. And I think that surprises a lot of people that are introducing themselves to the critical metal space. And the reason for that, funny enough, is because the U.S. was sort of a pioneer and leader in the light bulb industry. So tungsten is a metal that some people are familiar with from light bulbs, tungsten filaments. So the U.S. actually built about 12,000 tons of downstream processing capacity in the U.S. And that was to convert tungsten concentrate into tungsten filaments for the light bulb industry. And then what happened was we moved away from tungsten filament light bulbs, and this capacity has gone underutilized for the last 50 years. So what we have in the U.S., which is very unique, is about 8,000 to 9,000 tons of unused capacity, which means the only thing missing is the mine. There's no domestic primary mine production of tungsten in the U.S., hasn't been for over 10 years. So as soon as you plug in that mine supply, you now have a fully circular supply chain for tungsten entirely within the United States of America, which is really unique. I mean, you look at rare earth, there's a huge challenge there in terms of how do we actually process this into something usable for the military. And to take it one step further, I mean, you can in theory, there's a processing facility in Nevada that's unutilized or underutilized right now. So in theory, you could mine in Nevada, and our Pilot Mountain project is about an hour and a half from that facility. You could, in theory, mine it and process it all within the state and confines of Nevada, similar to what they've done with lithium with the Gigafactory and Spark. So the only thing missing right now in the U.S. is the mine supply. Right now, the U.S. imports all of its concentrates, and we are looking to change that, because if we can produce and actually mine a tungsten concentrate on U.S. soil, then the U.S. becomes fully self-sufficient. They can mine it, process it, and also use it for defense and all the other industries that require tungsten. It can all happen within the U.S., and all we need is the upstream, which is what we're looking to solve here at Guardian.
I appreciate that very much. Paul, I got one for you. Obviously, as we talked about today, you've got a different perspective as a pretty established precious metals and antimony producer. But silver itself has defense technology applications, and despite your youthful visage, you have seen multiple commodity cycles, as I understand it. So from your experience bringing projects into production and operating through North America, what advice do you have for defense metals developers? And where do you see any convergence between precious metals and defense metals investment themes?
Yeah, look, I think we've talked about it throughout the entire show. It's making sure that you have the right team, first and foremost. Get a right team, get the right location. And we've been talking about that throughout the whole show. And then you will get the right funding. So the best advice you have is put together a strong team, get the right asset, good jurisdiction, and then make sure you got the balance sheet and the money to do it. And we mentioned today a number of different ways you can do that. There's options for us, and the government is actually a new option, something that I'm not as familiar with actually. So I'm quite excited to get involved in more of that. We weren't usually getting grants or other things with private equity now associated with the government. It's quite interesting for me in this bull cycle. So if you can do those three things, and you don't need to complicate this. So many people try to make it more complicated. You're like, what are you doing? Just get the right team, get the right asset, get the funding. Things will go your way. And obviously you need to get in. Once you're done, you're exploring, get it into production. So we need the metals now. One of the tremendous advantages we have. So that's the best advice I could get. It's simple, but it's as real as it can get. It's no big eureka. It's do the basics and things will fall into place. And that's exactly what we're doing here. It's the same thing we did at Klondike. It's the same things we did at Karora. We're not trying to complicate it. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Even with our antimony, the technology existed. It's there. It exists. We know how to recover it. We just proved we got 99.8% recoveries. Let's make sure we take that concentrate that's 20% antimony and we keep it all here and produce ingots or trisulfite or whatever, trioxide, antimonate, whatever it is we need to the final product. Unlike where Oliver was talking about with tungsten, where there's a lot of processing facilities, there are not many in the U.S. Most people said over the last 20 years, not in my backyard, not in my backyard. I don't want that here. And I respect that. I completely respect that. But we are in a position now where we need processing facilities there, that we need them in the U.S. so that we can make sure we meet our own demands and needs, so that we have the antimony for the military, for other things. It's used for all kinds of other things as well. But it's a very important component, and we can't be reliant on others to be friendly and to say, oh, we'll just give it to you in a time where things get tough. You need to be ahead of the game. And all of that, doesn't matter who's at the helm here in the U.S., which parties there, we need this, and it's quite important to U.S. citizens, all of us. So, advice is pretty simple. Get a strong team, get a good location, make sure you got a strong balance sheet, and things will happen.
There you go. I like that. Put that on a t-shirt. That's fun. And leading off your last point, actually, Paul, there's a question that came in over email that I thought was really interesting, and I'm sure people in the audience are curious about it. It does ask you to very briefly be a geopolitical expert, so I apologize in advance. But the question is, do we think that the current onshoring, not just of defense metals, but for a variety of the mining industry, do we think that's something that is temporary, or do we think that's something that will be a long-term trend, that things have actually changed and a reliance on China and traditional sort of frenemies of the United States is no longer something that we can count on? Oliver, I'll throw it to you first for just your instinct on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the damage has been done in that we've now very succinctly realized that we need domestic mine sources, just period, right? And it's, there's a lot of noise right now. I mean, I think even over the weekend, there were some announcements. To be clear, the tungsten ban, as far as we know, is still fully in effect. Yeah. China is actually struggling to mine the metal right now. So we foresee that continuing. But the reality is, a lot of it's noise. I mean, you almost have to just ignore the day-to-day changes in policy and potential policy. The damage is done, right? What we've realized is that we have underinvested in mining for decades, and now we're overly reliant on other countries for the inputs of these key metals for defense and everything else. So the damage has been done. We need alignment across agencies. We need continuation regardless of the government that we're going to have in front of us. We do see bipartisan support, which is really fantastic. And that's key, because we need a longer term window over multiple 5, 10, 15 years to really fix this, right? And if we continue with the current trajectory, you can fast forward 10 years from now, and all of a sudden, the U.S. mines, 40% of their tungsten needs and 30% of their antimony needs and 50% of and we can get there, right? We have the projects, we have the mines, we have the support now. We need alignment, we need consistency across agencies and across departments and also across government. And we're seeing that now. And I think if we continue with this, we're going to see the U.S. in a much different position 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, because it all exists in the U.S. We've just underinvested for many, many decades, but we can fix that as long as we start now.
Awesome. And Paul, I know you've already given a part of your thoughts here, but I'll throw it to you if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt in my mind, this is not a flash in the pan. This isn't going away. You've got some really intelligent listeners here. They can make up their own mind, but there is no doubt that the U.S. or anybody in North America does not want to find itself in this current position ever again. I get asked all the time, like the production from antimony from China, they have 80% of the processing facilities. People ask, well, Paul, how much resource do they have? Well, I don't know. It's a black box. Could their resources deplete at some point in time? Well, of course, every mine in the world has some kind of depletion. It's not regrowing into the earth. So how big is their resource? Even if we could say rely on them, which I know is not going to be a solution for the future. But their resources, I'm sure, are depleting. We need to make sure we can supply it for ourselves domestically. In my opinion, it's not even a maybe. This is not a flash in the pan. This is going to be sustained, and no matter who's at the helm, I think Oliver was saying it is a bipartisan thing. Americans, Canadians, we need to make sure that we can take care of ourselves, and we can make sure that we have this products domestically from beginning to end, so we can mine it, concentrate, and then refine it to the final product, and make sure we have it domestically for the future. And I know I'm repeating myself here, but we're already there. We're doing it day in, day out. You come to our mine, you drive by our operations, you'll see us mining 400 or 500 tons a day every day of the week. So I'm quite proud of it.
Awesome. And I'm going to wrap up with a question, because I know we've talked about geopolitics, supply chains, government support, timelines a little bit. And each of you are working to rebuild that American critical mineral capacity. There's a big audience in the room. For the investors watching this space, what's the one thing they should understand about the defense metals opportunity and your company specifically over the next, let's say, year and a half, 2 years? And I encourage you to use this opportunity to pitch your stock as well. And Oliver, I'll throw it to you first.
I think the biggest thing to say is that we're pretty confident we're the leader when it comes to U.S. tungsten exploration development. It didn't happen by accident. We started this journey 5 years ago, acquiring Pilot Mountain. And the key thing is it's now a race to get production, to get tungsten out of the ground. And because we started on this journey many years ago when no one cared, we were able to acquire what we believe are the two best assets on U.S. soil in Pilot Mountain and Tempa Ute. And also we were able to go through the process to get an award from the Department of War as well. So we have the assets now. As Paul mentioned, the team's critically important. We have people who have built mines in Nevada, have done it in the last 10 years, multiple mines. We have the tailwinds, the commodity price is doing incredibly well, and we feel quite confident that we are the leader when it comes to tungsten exploration development in the United States of America. And if you look at the other leaders when it comes to the different critical metals and defense metals out there, we've seen what can happen to those companies with these tailwinds. So we're looking to really kind of solidify ourselves as, hey, if you want mine tungsten in the US, we believe it goes through Guardian Metal Resources.
Appreciate that. Paul, throw it to you. What's one thing people should go away thinking about America's gold and silver?
Yeah, look, it's hard to just say one thing, but I'll say this. You asked me earlier, what does it take to get a good company? Well, first and foremost, we've got a strong team. Where are we located? We're located in the U.S. You can't find a better location in the Idaho district. Our balance sheet is shored up. We are in production. The fact that we're in production, it's a tremendous advantage over so many people. Our share price isn't built on a house of cards here. It's built on an operating mine that is producing with a very strong team, with a strong balance sheet to continue to grow from here. The fact that we're taking advantage of these silver prices today, and we're getting this antimony sorted out at no additional cost. Our share price has tremendous room for growth from here. A lot of people, I get people going, well, I kind of missed it. I wish I would have got it here. Yep, I understand that, but you haven't missed it. It's far from missed yet. We're still at that, we just announced 765,000 ounces of silver. That's a very strong quarter for us as we continue that momentum to get us to that 5 million ounces a year just out of the US here. And again, it won't stop. Given the infrastructure we have, we're probably in one of the greatest times of silver in a great location. So America's Gold and Silver separates itself out as a unique producer of antimony and will be here for a very long time.
Paul, Oliver, thank you so much. This is such a great discussion. Really appreciate it. And when there's an audience this large, I like to always thank you for behaving yourselves. Really appreciate that, everybody that's in the room. But gentlemen, this was a great discussion. And folks, you can look forward to the replay being ready in just a couple hours. I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon.
Great. Thanks, Romeo. Appreciate
Bye,
it.
Oliver.
Take care, Paul.
Have a great day, guys.
Take care to the whole audience. Thanks for being here.